Yo, what's poppin', people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I do hope you are all doing well today, man. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on Football Therapy, where I go across football news media, consolidate the content, present it to you guys, the viewer, offer you my opinion for what it's worth, and more importantly, ask for yours down in the comment section below. And today, there's not too much to talk about. Actually, I did want to reiterate something that I spoke about in yesterday's video, which was kind of a news hybrid match preview video. But the truth is, not many people like watching match previews. Disappointing, innit? I will still always do match reviews because they get good views and people like them, but previews, it's difficult to grab people's attention. Anyway, I did want to talk about a couple of things I spoke about in yesterday's video, all generally coming from Frank Lampard's pre-match press conference. I want to talk about something he said regarding TIMO WERNER and Tammy Abraham. Also, I really do want to speak about N'Golo Kante because obviously he's been long rumoured to maybe be exiting Chelsea, but Frank Lampard said something very positive about him, and I wanted to speculate how he might use N'Golo Kante moving forward. And no, not in the lone CDM role, something a little bit different. So hang tight and stand by for that, and a quick reminder, doing the housekeeping here, to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already, and of course, if you want to. It's freedom, man. But let me make my case, you should choose to subscribe because I upload every single day, and you might like it. And if you do like it, please like this video. Cheers, mate. Let's get into it. First and foremost, it is our manager's birthday. Frank Lampard, 42 years old. Don't look a day over 38, mate. We've got Super Frankie Lampard. He knows exactly what we need. No, that's enough of that. Happy birthday, Frank. I'm sure you watch my videos, so get me some free tickets to Chelsea when eventually we can go and watch Chelsea. Alright, I do want to talk about Timo and Tammy and potential tandem. Ooh, alliteration's back. But let's start off with the French World Cup winner, multiple Premier League winner, FA Cup winner, Europa League winner, PFA Player of the Year winner, EA Sports Player of the Year winner, Football Writers Player of the Year winner, and I'm sure many, many more beside N'Golo Kante. Been an interesting and kind of turbulent year almost for N'Golo Kante at this point. Obviously, he had an excellent game in the Europa League final, played for injury, probably exacerbated his injury, was out for a long time, in and out of the Chelsea side throughout this campaign. Frank Lampard's not really got going with him. He has not played great, and interestingly, Chelsea's win percentage with him in the team is a lot worse with him out of the team. And Frank Lampard wasn't doing anything too radically different with him. He was playing him in the same position Maurizio Sarri played him, where he had excellent games in that right central midfield spot. Now, I know I've said it 1,000 times before, but I guess I'm just going to have to say it again. Now, I'm not going to go into it too deep. I've actually done a whole dedicated video on this a few months back, but N'Golo Kante is not alone as CDM. He plays in a two-man midfield when he did his best work for Leicester and Antonio Conte's Chelsea. Not only have I explained this before millions of times, I did a video where I showed concise evidence with heat maps and starting positions. He's never been a lone CDM. He's a roaming box-to-box interceptive midfielder. Right, we got that out of the way. With that, I don't think it's Frank Lampard's inclination to play him in the base of his midfield where he likes players like Jorginho or indeed Billy Gilmour to play. You know, more dictator kind of players that like to stay anchored. N'Golo Kante is not about being anchored. N'Golo Kante's game is about running around. We all know this. So, how is Frank going to use Kante? It's been a frustrating year. Like I said, the win percentage without him has been worse. But then again, he's an excellent world-class player. He's been linked to Real Madrid loads, he's been injured loads. Everyone's like, ooh, is it time to sell Kante? But Frank Lampard has said this. In terms of N'Golo Kante, I've seen some talk and reports about him and his future at the club. I've said before about him, one of the best midfield players in the world. He is so important to us as a team going forward, and we need him regularly. Pretty concise if you ask me. Pretty much saying, no, we want to be the best, he's one of the best, he's going nowhere, we're going to need him. Even if he's not always starting, I think we're going to need him regularly. Now, this is what I'm thinking, man. This is what I'm thinking. We all know Frank Lampard likes to change the team tactically, move players around, try different approaches to catch the opposition out, you know? I think Personally, he's looked at N'Golo Kante, and although perhaps he's not too inclined to play him in this lone pivot role because perhaps he feels like he won't be able to execute the kind of Frank Lampard football he wants to play, I think things are about to change. Not moving N'Golo Kante into a lone pivot, but I do genuinely feel like the right wing will often be occupied by Hakim Ziyech. But Hakim Ziyech can play an excellent number 10 role in a 4-2-3-1. See where I'm going with this, boys? If you play a 4-2-3-1, you can have a midfield too, like where Kante does his best work, but perhaps squeeze down a little bit, and he could be in front of the back four in a 2 with, oh, I don't know, how about Chelsea's Player of the Year elect, Mateo Kovacic? Ooh. Suddenly, you can play Hakim Ziyech in the number 10 in front of them. You can play, I don't know, Werner on the left, Tammy up front, or, you know, pick it. You could also play Werner up front, is what I'm trying to say. And then you can, like, you know, pick your wingers, man. Christian Pulisic, even Cho, Callum Hudson-Odoi can play on the right wing, combining with Reece James. New option, new tactical approach. Frank Lampard might be feeling that. So really this clears up the rumours. Frank wants to build a titanic squad of quality. He's not looking to sell N'Golo Kante. Even if he doesn't play him all the time, he's looking to keep him, and I feel like we might see N'Golo Kante play in a double pivot in a 4-2-3-1. But I cannot see him playing in a lone pivot still. That's just my 2 cents. Anyway, I do want to talk about strikers and the stuff that you said about Tammy Abraham and TIMO WERNER, because I hold on, remembering how to talk. I did mention this yesterday in yesterday's video, but I want to mention it again and give you a little bit more detail. So of course, in the press conference, Frank Lampard was asked about TIMO WERNER a lot. Well, it's the biggest signing this summer so far, Galactico level quality, a coup for Chelsea, Chelsea are dominating the market, superb. Of course, he's already answered questions about Hakim Ziyech. He was always going to be questioned about Timo. And he pretty much said he's awesome. He said he's awesome. He said he had loads of good conversations with him. Both Frank and Timo are very, very excited to get this project going. He had loads of positive things to say about Werner's personality, his humility, his work ethic, and pretty much it's just everyone's really excited to get going. But of course, he was then questioned about Tammy Abraham. He was like, have you talked to Tammy about this? Does Tammy know who, you know, Tammy's done very well this season. Does he know you're bringing in this striker? Now, he said, Frank Lampard responded to this, yeah, I have had conversations with Tammy, but, you know, like, whatever. He was a bit blasé about it, saying, you know, I don't need to have conversations with Tammy. I don't need to justify what we're doing. This is Chelsea. You know, when I was a player, well, he didn't say this, but this is what I'm reading out of this. When Frank Lampard was a player, suddenly Michael Ballack would come in when he's playing really well, and he'd have to raise his game. You know, this quality player might be coming to take his spot. They ended up both playing vital parts in that Chelsea midfield. I think Frank Lampard wants to create the same thing with this current Chelsea side, and this could be an example of that. TIMO WERNER and Tammy Abraham up front. He did say in this press conference, yes, Tammy's done very good, but he needs to sustain and he needs to improve. This is Chelsea, you know, he's on the right path, he's doing well, but this doesn't stop here, man. He's got to keep getting better if he wants to keep his spot up front. So that's really interesting. And something else that Frank Lampard didn't say and probably wouldn't be inclined to say, but I heard Simon Johnson speak of this on the Straight Out of Cobham podcast, which is a podcast by The Athletic. He said he heard that Frank Lampard deliberately didn't tell Tammy Abraham about the TIMO WERNER signing. He said we just kept it in the club, in the staff or whatever, in like the scouts and check and all this, because he wanted to see how Tammy Abraham would react to the signing, like a test, saying, right, you've scored some goals, Tammy, you've done all right, you know, you probably had been overplayed for injury, but how are you going to react? Are you going to rise up to an elite Chelsea player and get better when we sign quality? Are you going to welcome this quality, not just to offer yourself competition so you can get better, but also desire it so the team gets better, the squad gets better, put the team before yourself in many ways, like, you know, accepting quality so you can all ascend into Premier League greatness. And I think the way Frank Lampard's talking, he's quite happy the way Tammy Abraham's reacted so far. So that's positive. Hopefully Tammy's game can improve. And like I said, Frank Lampard didn't speak about this in the press conference, but I genuinely do feel like they'll be playing together, that Tammy will play up front and Werner will play off him on the left, whether it's a 2, a conventional 2 or a midfield, or a front 3 rather. I think front 3 is most likely, but even when TIMO WERNER does start up front and there's no Tammy Abraham on the pitch, I think if you look at the heat maps and the average positions, I think you'll still see TIMO WERNER sort of like sort of going to the left slightly. Do you know what I mean? Like, because if you look at his Sona passing maps, he's always occupying that left sort of spot in the final third. So I can see that happening regardless, and you might as well, if you know Frank Lampard wants a player to hold up the ball, I think it does make sense to start Tammy Abraham. So maybe he's told him, yeah, look, you're gonna start together, or maybe he hasn't. Maybe he wants him to stew, and he's like, dude, you better play well, man, because TIMO Werner's here. He's very good, isn't he? Anyway, we'll have to see. I really do like the way Frank Lampard is doing his business, is going about his work, like, you know, very much a sort of training ground coach, but also trying to get in the heads of the players a little bit, because you have to do that. You've got to motivate the youngsters, you've got to motivate all the players, and the older senior players as well. I like the way he operates, Frankie Lampard, the birthday boy, but how do you feel about these situations? Get down in the comment section below and express yourself on both N'Golo Kante and the Timo and Tammy situation, and how Frank Lampard is dealing with it, and how you think both players are going to deal with it. Do you think Tammy Abraham's going to rise to the challenge and get even better? Because I kind of feel like he will do, to be honest. If you've enjoyed this content I provided to you guys today, I'll urge you all to like the video. That's really helpful, and subscribe to the channel if you're new to this channel. I'm obviously losing my mind because I can't talk anymore, and it means I'm tired. Anyway, follow me on social media as well, at Football Yannick on both Instagram and Twitter. Over 3,000 followers on Instagram now, so I'm slowly building that platform. Make sure you do follow me. Alright, enjoy the football that's happening tomorrow, and I'll see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double, silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me baby.